But when we let go, we relax and we cultivate this beautiful loving kindness in our heart. Awareness is kind of attracted to that because loving kindness is beautiful. It's pleasant. It's happy. It's joyful. And it feels good. And more we feel happiness and goodness and joy inside, then the less the mind is distracted, the less it actually cares about all of these distractions. The water of our awareness starts to pool and collect, and that's why I call it natural samadhi. Slowly, slowly. Oh, I see some white teeth. Good. That's what I'm looking for, by the way. Very good. Not struggling too much with the wild creature in the mind. Yeah. More white teeth. Well, yes, that's what it is. Yeah, and it's about the time where I like to introduce a little bit deeper wisdom of the Buddha and his enlightenment. What is that even? What does it mean? And of course it's described in many ways. But tonight we'll be exploring a discourse, a teaching, a sutta, which explains one side of his awakening, and he's describing what he went through, the mental process, the understanding. And even the Buddha seemed to know that the mind is kind of a wild thing, isn't it? There's all these analogies with all kinds of animals, and in this one it's a cow. But I find this little story really funny. I just want to open up with meditation hints from the Colorado Division of Wildlife. My husband and I spent last summer at my family's cabin in Grand Lake, Colorado, at the edge of the Rocky Mountain National Park. In town one day, I picked up a pamphlet on living in bear country, and the suggestions for what to do if you meet a bear sounded a lot like meditation instructions. Substituting thought for bear. Here are some helpful hints from the Colorado Division of Wildlife. Colorado has been home to thoughts since the earliest ancestors evolved in North America. Today, increasing numbers of people routinely live and play in thought country. Learning about thoughts and being aware of their habits will help you fully appreciate these unique animals and the habitat in which they live. So what to do if you meet a thought? There are no definite rules about what to do if you meet a thought. Thought attacks are rare compared to the number of close encounters. However, if you do meet a thought, before it has time to leave an area, here are some suggestions. Remember, every situation is different with respect to the thought, the terrain, the people and their activities. First, stay calm. If you see a thought and it hasn't seen you, calmly leave the area. Stop. Back away slowly while facing the thought. Give the thought plenty of room to escape. Wild thoughts rarely attack people unless they feel threatened or provoked. Speak softly. This may reassure the thought that no harm is meant to it. If a thought stands upright or moves closer, it may be trying to detect smells in the air. This isn't a sign of aggression. Once a thought identifies you, it may leave the area or try to intimidate you by bluff charging to within a few feet before it withdraws. Don't run or make any sudden movements. Running is likely to prompt the thought to give chase. And you can't outrun a thought. If you have a potentially life-threatening situation with a thought, or if an injury occurs, please contact the Division of Wildlife, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Share this with a friend or a neighbor. So we have the Division of Wildlife here, our crew, the Metta Center. So I just think that's hilarious. I'm surprised that I didn't crack up this time, because every time I just crack up. There's actually quite good, insightful tips in there. It ties into really well the topic that we'll be speaking about tonight. And why is the mind so wild? And what is the difference between our thoughts and our mental standpoints, and what is the difference between mental states? What is their quality, and what are we doing here? We learned some meditation instructions, and those instructions are quite simple. But here we will see a little bit deeper what really we are doing. It seems simple, but really in actual reality, there's a whole process that the Buddha understood, which you are practicing right now. And it is very helpful to our practice to understand this process. And this is a discourse that is called The Two Kinds of Thoughts, or Discerning Between Two Kinds of Thoughts. For the Sutta Geeks, it's number 19 of the Majjhima Nikāya, which means the middle length discourses. This one is a little long to just read, so I really extracted the main sections that are really important to us here. And so here the Buddha says, before my complete awakening, monks, and tonight you will be the monks and the nuns, and for this retreat, this is you, okay, good. While I was a bodhisattva, not yet a fully awakened being, I reflected, let me meditate, discerning and dividing my thoughts into two. And so that's already quite interesting. The Buddha is just meditating, and he's not yet fully enlightened, and he's just realizing that there's two kinds of thoughts mainly. And what about if he was to deal with these two kinds of thought in a different way? And here we go. From then on, I gathered on one side thoughts of sensory desires, or I like to see that as sensory engagement or sensory distractions also. Thoughts of anger or dislike or aversion. These are all also words that could fit. And thoughts of harm. I like to see that as retaliation or revenge. You know, it's that really strange human instinct that when you get hurt, we hurt people back. It's kind of it's really strange how that works, but it does work like that in a lot of the case, a lot of the time. What he's saying here is mainly all unwholesome states fit in here. So it's not just this. So he's talking about all unwholesome states here. But he's mainly just talking about these three. And I gathered on the other side thoughts of letting go, relinquishing, nekkhamma. Thoughts of non-anger, this is love or compassion or joy or empathy. And thoughts of harmlessness. Compassion fits in there, but also sympathetic joy, like rejoicing in other people's success or happiness. But again, this means like all wholesome states. It doesn't stop there. So basically all wholesome states fit in here. So literally he's saying, I put unwholesome states, unbeneficial states on one side and wholesome, beneficial states on the other side. Then while I was meditating, attentive, intent, and resolute, there arose thoughts of sensory desires in my mind, or sensory distractions. Then I reflected, this is troublesome. This is troublesome to others, and this is troublesome to both. These thoughts impede conscious discernment. They come with tension in the mind. Interesting. And they lead away from peace. As soon as I realized this is troublesome, they faded away. So as soon as he realized that they came with tension, as soon as he realized that those thoughts were agitated, not pleasant, troublesome, he was able to let it go. Because it was easy. When we know that something is burning, for example, a hot kettle, and we put our hand on it, we're going to move away from it. It's quite reflexive, in fact. But if we just cultivate that understanding, and by the way, these are the Four Noble Truths, but in a very simple term. I'm not going to explain the Four Noble Truths right now, but slowly as we go deeper. Basically to see what is hurtful and to move away from it. That's very succinctly, that's what that means. And so as we develop this understanding, this helps us let go of things that are hurtful, unbeneficial, troublesome. And this is why we keep repeating that the most important part of this meditation is to continually realize and understand how when the mind gets distracted, there is tension. And this sutta is kind of expounding that a little bit more. And the Buddha even realized this. That's how he started to understand what these states were doing to him. And so when you notice a distraction creates tension in the mind, and you relax, the relaxed step, relax that tension, the mind becomes open again. It becomes clear, becomes bright, unagitated. And this is how the mind slowly starts to rewire itself, to move towards more calm and peace and steadiness. So I kept letting go thoughts of sensory desires as they arose. I kept on releasing them and bringing them to an end. And so see, even the Buddha as a bodhisattva, when he was still looking for enlightenment, even he was doing that, what you're doing now. So it wasn't, he wasn't just born like that. Well, of course he was born with good conditions, mental conditions. That's a whole other story. But what you're practicing here, this is what he's saying. So this is what he was practicing also. And now he's saying the same formula for all of these unwholesome states, and this is the repetition that I'm not going to force upon you tonight. But the same thing for anger, the same thing for sensory distractions, the same thing for example, anxiety would be another one, stress, agitation, restlessness, worry, all of these mental states. This is the template that he came to the same understanding about each of them. So whatever one frequently thinks about and reflects upon over and over again, this becomes the inclination of the mind. And see, here we are starting to talk about, well, in modern terms we call it neuroplasticity, but in Buddhism we call it dependent origination. And this is a process that we will be exploring more and more as the retreat goes deeper. So as you practice loving kindness, bringing it up, even though it's patchy sometimes, even though it's hazy sometimes, it's like you look at it and then, oh, it's gone. And then you take a step back and it's gathering back again. But as soon as you try to like really feel it, and then it kind of moves away, and that's normal. It's really okay. And as you apply the 6 R's, you are slowly inclining your mind towards more and more of these states. And that's what the Buddha is saying. Just keep doing that, and you'll see your mind will change over. If a person frequently thinks and reflects upon thoughts of sensory distractions, that person has left the thought of letting go. So when I was saying that when the distraction comes, or the mind goes towards that distraction, that storyline, the mind at that point is clinging a little bit, just a little bit to that theme, that idea, that story. And at that point, we've left the space of letting go, and we're cultivating, clinging to that idea. Every moment, every second of our lives, we are conditioning our minds. We are training our minds, whether we want it or not. So when we watch a horror movie, or whether we like it or not, the brain soaks these images in, and you know, what you'll dream at night is these stories. What you'll think about in your spare time when your mind gets distracted is these stories. If you go to Dhamma talks and retreats, and if you hang out with the Metta Center people, and then you're gonna dream of like pilgrimages to like holy places, and it's gonna be very uplifting. And so this is and just whatever you put in front of your mind, whether it's a stupa in Thailand or whether it's the Matrix, that will actually leave an impression on your mind, which is actually quite substantial. It doesn't seem like much. It's like, oh, it's just a movie, whatever. But it actually does. And like horror movies, for example, what you feel inside your body, like your body has like emotional memory, it actually activates these pathways. Like when you see someone like doing something really nasty to somebody else, you feel terrible inside. Well, that's kind of like you're building these neural pathways in one way. You're cultivating that within you. So whenever it's dark and you hear a sound and you're trying to go to the bathroom, and you'll be like, it's someone who's like trying to get me or something. But in reality, that's just the mind, there's nobody there. It's your cat. But the mind, and I've noticed that in my own mind when more and more, when, these moments of like fear, when you're in these situations, like when it's dark outside and things like that, it's actually not that relevant when you don't watch like horror movies or watch like the news, which is kind of close to horror movies. I mean, yeah, within reasonable doses, I guess. Yeah, so whether we like it or not, whatever we put in front of our minds, the Buddha is saying this is what our minds is going to incline towards, because this is how we're going to wire our nervous system and mind. And so he says the same thing about anger. Once we frequently dwell in anger, and we've left the thought of non-anger. And this again points to a very interesting element in this teaching, where, and this is what this whole talk is about, the clear difference between these two kinds of states. They are opposite to each other. So when you have loving kindness in your heart, you're not angry. It's the opposite. So when you have anger in your heart, then you've left loving kindness. If you're impatient, and actually I like impatience instead of anger more, because that's something that people will experience a lot more than full-fledged anger. But impatience is that, like, not being okay with whatever is. But it's just that just before it blooms into, well, blooms or explode. Thank you, Sensei. I just had the French for it, bourgeonner. But I'm not, I was trying to find, English dictionary. Please. Yeah, so before it explodes, just that moment. In fact, impatience will be there before there's anger. So whenever anger has arisen or impatience, then there is no more loving kindness, because these states are completely opposite. They're completely different. And so this is really helpful for us to understand, because now we're understanding, okay, so this is what I'm doing with my mind right now, using the 6 R's, bringing up the loving kindness. And so he has this wonderful analogy of the cowherd. So just as in the last month of the monsoon season, in the late fall, when the crops are abundant, a cowherd would have to protect his cows while walking through a field. To do so, he would have to poke and push and pull and pluck his cows in line, this way and that way with a stick. Why? Because he sees that as the leader of these cows, he could be punished, imprisoned, fined, or blamed. In the same way, monks, that is you, and nuns, I saw danger, degradation, and defilement in unwholesome mental states. And in wholesome mental states, I saw freedom, benefit, and natural clarity. So see how these mental states are different. And this, I remember I was serving at a time where I was practicing in a different tradition. I was serving at one of these big centers. I was a long-term server there, and I was practicing a kind of focused attention, one-pointed. I remember trying, and it was kind of like an anapanasati at the nostril tips, for example. And I was really enjoying that meditation, in fact, to be honest, at that time. But I remembered that whenever I would sit a 10-day retreat, then my mind would be really sharp at the end, and it would be really kind of there, pointed. And so I would go back to the kitchen. I was kitchen manager at this time, and I have a lot of gratitude for the kitchen, the cooks, and I know how much work that is. And anyhow, it didn't take, I was trying to maintain this kind of awareness. I have this clear memory of trying to wash the dishes, and because I could see that my mindfulness, or that kind of collectedness, that concentration, was going really quickly. A few days after the retreat, it was almost all gone, and I was wondering, what's with that, And so I was trying to wash the dishes, serving a 10-day retreat, and I remember trying to really put my mind on the pot, for example, that I was scrubbing, I'm like, I gotta check my mind because it's gonna go. And I really gotta pull and poke and push and pluck and get my mind in line, because if I don't do that, then it's just gonna go, it's gonna go, and then I'm gonna feel like I have no concentration, and I'm just gonna kind of get impatient about it and blame the centers, blame the tradition, blame my family, blame everything else other than me, and then blame so the schedule of the cooking schedule. Definitely, that's what's wrong with my life. That also brought a lot to me, and I can share my experience with you now because it brought me a lot as well. It also, that specific tradition was what made me go forth and decide that I would become a yogi or a monk in my life. So, I am forever grateful to all of my teachers and forever grateful to all the traditions I have learned from. But I also share the reality of my experience. So I just want to make that clear. And so, I really think it's a really striking simile for me, this one, because it's really how I felt. Like I had to really control my mind all the time. And that actually was really draining, to be honest. And I could do it, and I could do it for really long times, and I could sit through a lot of pain. I could force my mind, and I could, shut everything out. But at some point I realized, I don't know if this is the way. I don't know if it doesn't feel like I'm actually... First, I was reading this kind of sutta, and I was thinking, that's not what I'm doing. Like, I don't understand what the Buddha is saying here. And in this particular way that we're practicing here, people often have a harder time dealing with the loving kindness because we're not used to dealing with these emotions, because it's so insubstantial, it's so kind of hazy. It's like, what do you do with that? Like, I'd rather put my mind on like it's still, not moving. It's true. It's quicker like this, and it does. That's true. But the thing is, in the long run, when we learn to develop the wholesome states and how wholesome states work, how unwholesome states work, and when we learn right effort, how to make more of the wholesome states and abandon, let go, relax the unwholesome ones, the mind naturally will become collected. It will become peaceful, calm, settled. And it takes a little bit more time, and maybe sometimes a little bit more faith at the beginning, because it takes a little bit more time. But it does work, and it gets to that point. At this point, I think I'd like to invite you to all divide your blank sheet into two. And then again, divide it horizontally again, so into 4. So first of all, what are the wholesome states? So that will be the first box on your sheet. Wholesome states, let's call it like that. What are these wholesome states we're talking about here? And I just mentioned, I pretty much give all the answers earlier, but I'd like to hear it from you, and usually we actually get some really good perspectives. Yes? Mm-hmm. Very good. Compassion, you can write that too. And since we're on that sequence... Patience, very good. Kanti. Yes, very good.
Christians, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control.
Great. That sounds amazing. Yeah. Is that Rosicrucian knowledge? No?
Somewhere in Galatians, I think.
Okay, great, wonderful. Okay, so, well, that was quick. So maybe one of those? The best one?
Kindness.
Kindness. Yeah, great. Okay, great. Yeah. Yes.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Very good.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Yes. Very good. Very good. That's a good one.
Clear.
Huh?
Clear.
Clear.
Clarity.
Clarity. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Very good. Clarity.
Peace.
Peace. Equanimity. Very good.
Gentleness.
Gentleness.
Uplifting.
Uplifting or upliftment. Yeah. Beautiful.
Generosity.
Generosity. That mind of giving, that mind of letting go.
Altruism.
Altruism. Beautiful.
Acceptance.
Acceptance. Yeah. Wise. Wisdom. Yes. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Oh, did I hear something?
Seven factors of vipassana.
Yeah. There you go. Soph is speaking my language.
You said smiling.
Smiling. Very good. Yeah. Non-harm. Yeah. Good. Very good. Protecting. Yes. Protection. How do these qualities feel within you? Wholesome. Very good. I would say this is a clever answer. Can't go wrong with that one. Very good.
Spacious.
Spacious. Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so sorry. And the box right under that, you can write the qualities of these states, of these wholesome states. So we said wholesome, and we said spacious,
Bright and clear.
bright and clear, beautiful. Yeah.
Soft.
Soft,
Connected.
connected. Oh, really? Really good. See that?
Healing.
Healing. Did you look at the board?
Warm.
Warm, beautiful.
Happy.
Happy, great.
Soothing.
Soothing.
Safety.
Safe,
Feeling safe.
feeling safe. Yeah,
Belonging.
yeah. Yeah, belonging. Wow.
Love.
Loved. Yeah, great.
Someone said uplifted.
Uplifted, yes. Very good.
This one may not count, but it's awesome.
Awesome. Completely.
Tickling.
From start to finish.
Tickling.
Tickling. Great, yes. Yes. See, that's why I love this exercise. Even me, I never, came up with all that.
Relief.
Relief. Beautiful, yes. Pamoja. Yeah. Well, I should be taking notes, actually. Okay, great.
Light.
Rapture, yes, rapture. Light?
Light, not heavy.
Light, yes, not heavy. Beautiful. Yeah. How does the mind feel? Collected. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Naturally, isn't it funny? Naturally in these states. When you're grateful, mind is there. When you're grateful, you're appreciating just this. It's here. It's not looking outside. It is collected. When you're feeling loved, you're happy, you're here, collected. Joy, same. When the mind is happy, it's joyful. It's not looking for joy outside. It's got it. So it doesn't get distracted. Very good. Yes? Presence and nothing else is needed. Very good.
Contentment.
Yes. Contentment. Yes, that's the word. But sometimes a bunch of words is even better. Because it kind of puts it like, that nuance is like a little bit different. Good. Yes. Bright. Brave. Yes. Courage. Beautiful. Yes.
Selfless.
Very good. Very good. This is going somewhere.
A feeling of synergy.
Sanity.
Synergy.
Synergy. Synergy. Yes, yes, of course. Synergy, it's all... Yes? Okay. Great. And we should have started with the unwholesome ones because that would have been a better ending. But I'll try to say a joke or something after. And so what about unwholesome states?
Anger, hatred, jealousy.
Oh, all right. All right, Sinsin.
Enmity, malice.
Yes. Very good. Mm-hmm. Somebody knows how it feels. Mm.
What was that again?
So, malice, hatred,
Enmity, anger.
enmity, anger,
Grudges.
huh?
Grudges.
Grudges, holding grudges, yes. Jealousy. Mm-hmm. Fear, yes, fear. Selfishness, yes. Because we are in the states right now. After we'll go to the qualities, so we'll do that. Envy, is that what you said, Tammy? Okay, envy, yes, envy. Huh? Disgust, yeah. Shame, guilt. Huh? Despair. Yes, yes. Anguish. Greed. Yes. Huh? Impatience. Yeah.
What about sad?
Sadness. Yes. Grievance. Revenge. Yeah, revenge. Resentment, yes, very good. Contempt, yes. I'm really happy for you.
What about pride?
Charit?
Would you say that loneliness is an unwholesome state?
Loneliness?
Yeah, is it an unwholesome state?
Well, there's a way in which it is and there's a way in which it isn't. Like a few things. But if it comes in like that with heaviness of mind and a kind of a heavier, like a depressive kind of state, then it is close to a bit like depression or. But if it's like solitude, and because a lot of people also enjoy loneliness, so that's and actually we in Buddhism we love solitude. So, but loneliness can in fact be can have mental heaviness in it. So yeah, it could be. Mm-hmm.
What about pride?
Pride, yeah.
Arrogance?
Arrogance, yeah.
I was like wondering, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah, I know, right? Because there is There is a wholesome kind of pride and there's a unwholesome kind of pride. So if, I feel like it's also an expression that we use, like, oh, I'm so proud of you. That's kind of like the parent saying that to their children, and that's pretty wholesome. But to be proud, like self-inflated, that's probably less good. So at first, when I was beginning my practice again, I was really like, my mind was very stiff and clear cut with these things, and I cut out a few words out of my vocabulary, and proud words that I completely said no, I'm never gonna say that again. That's not good. And then I realized, well, actually when I changed and my practice changed and I changed, and I realized that actually, this is it's just a skillful expression to say, you can be, I feel like when we say that, we're actually rejoicing, and that's closer to anumodana than actual pride. So I think it's our little English Western way of saying I rejoice in Buddhism. In Buddhist countries, it's like, oh, I rejoice in your merits, It's like everybody knows. It's like, yeah, of course, rejoicing. But we don't have that vocabulary, and I think that expression actually means that, rejoicing in somebody else's success or whatever it is.
How about mental states that are kind of not so clear cut, like grief, because it's something that one experiences.
Yes.
I wouldn't really see that as an unwholesome state, but I guess maybe how you deal with it and how it manifests. It could be unwholesome. If it becomes excessive or.
Mm-hmm. So for example, grief, it's also not about shutting things away, because if we don't allow ourselves to feel that grief because we have to go through that process, then it's double unwholesome. We're just piling up, trying to cover up something that is like we're trying to run away from something. But the further away we go, at some point we're going to have to walk all the way back and deal with it, put it away, nurture it. And so grief, I guess your question brings me to another aspect of that translation, which is unwholesome. We're speaking here of Akusala and Akusala, which can also mean skillful or unskillful. And in so many ways, all of this, the Buddha had so many words and ways of saying that, talking about these states. And these states are also known as hurtful and not hurtful, beneficial, unbeneficial. So grief is, you certainly want to allow yourself to go through that process, but I don't think you want to live in grief, right? So it's not really beneficial. I would use that translation at that point. It's not really going to benefit really anybody, but you do have to process it and, do the forgiveness that needs to be done, do the self-work that needs to be done, and then move on and let it go with wisdom. So.
Is it unbeneficial when it's closer to depression because it brings you down?
Anything basically that brings your mind down, that actually affects you, because behind all of this there is someone taking that personal. And of course we're gonna be breaking that down as we go. I don't want to give all the gummies tonight. But we will break down this idea and this understanding of the self behind all of this and taking things personal. And we still have that sense of self here and now. And the way to deconstruct it right now is to actually boost it with wholesome states. And like, I can't remember who said it, but the wholesome states are selfless. In nature, they are selfless. Loving kindness is a giving state. Compassion, it's giving. Generosity, it's not about you. It's about everybody else. And when you live constantly in that state, you're not very selfish. It's impossible. So your whole life becomes very open and light. And so, where were we? Unwholesome states. Delusion, very good, yes. The opposite. Yes, creating all of this. Racial discrimination. Or is it Niranjan? Okay, racism, yes. Yeah, I mean, this is just a more complex, down the line kind of unwholesome state that is kind of fed by all of the other ones. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's part of delusion, definitely.
Is it the root otherness?
The?
Otherness?
Otherness. Yeah.
And then there's other.
Yes.
Separate to us.
Us and them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So racism, ageism,
Yes.
all of that would fall into.
Yes.
otherness.
Mm-hmm.
Groupism.
Huh?
Groupism.
Groupism. Yeah. But all of these things are kind of like way down the line. They're like kind of part of like social structures and cultural contexts. Ignorance, yes. Delusion, ignorance, yes. Self-righteousness. I am right, everybody's wrong. Yes. Lust, yes. Lustfulness, lustful. Yes. Rigidness, great. Laziness, yep. Craving, right on the money. Restlessness. Oh, you guys are starting to pick up on the 5 hindrances. Doubt. Okay, we're done. Since called it. Great, well done. Okay, I think that's pretty good, unless somebody has a burning one. Obsession, okay. And so, how does the mind feel? How does your mind feel when you experience these states? What are the qualities of these mental states? Tight. Oh, wow. That was some mental connection on the left side here. Heavy, yes. Stuck, yep. Overwhelmed. Whoa, too many. Selfish, angry, is that what I heard? Yeah. Hungry. Agitated, very good, yes. That's dull, yep. Isolated, yep. Confused, beautiful. Frantic, yep. Huh? Taut? Hot. Yes. Very good.
Cold.
So we have hot in... I was going to say, hey, wait a minute. We have hot, warmth in the wholesome states and hot in the unwholesome states. Palpitating. Yes. Yeah. Or you have a B12 deficiency, it depends. Yep. Critical, yes, very good, yep. I know what I'm talking about. What are you talking about? Disconnecting, yeah. Detached.
Well, it's interesting, disconnected, but
yes.
Right and attached is also.
Yes. Disconnected and, yeah, detached. But I guess, again, there's wholesome detachment and unwholesome detachment, yes. Dark. Coarse, yes, very good. Mm-hmm.
I can't think of the word, but it's kind of like imprisoned, you're trapped
Trumped? Oh, sorry. Yes. Let's. Oh, okay.
Self-referential.
Self-referential. Very good. I like that one. Good. Violent. Yes, it is. That's also how I see these mental states, isn't it? Like anger, isn't it? Like violence, retaliation, very violent. Unsatisfied. Yep. That's actually how I like to translate tanha, craving. Unsatisfaction, dissatisfaction.
Hurt.
Hurt. Hurt. Yes. Hurtful. Are we in the qualities now? Yeah. Harsh. Yes. Yeah, I really like that. So hurt, we have dukkha here. Hurt. Unpleasant. Oh, I said no. Discontent. Very good. Yes, discontent.
I'm not sure if I can say the big boss suffering.
Yes, of course. If you want to go there, Bharat, let's go there. Samsaric, yes, wandering, the endless wandering. Addiction, yes, addicted, yeah. Obsession, addiction. Superior, yeah. Well, in the not good way. Yeah. Mean, yes. So is it calm? Are the unwholesome states calm? No. Yeah, no. And when your mind gets distracted, is it calm? No. Interesting. So that means that when the mind is distracted, we've been talking about really simple terms earlier, but now that we have this ocean of information now about all of these names and qualities, when the mind becomes distracted, then wouldn't that mean that that's because there is maybe an unbeneficial, unskillful, or unwholesome tendency that is coming up to the surface? And so that's really, really, really important to understand for our practice, because what we're doing here is cultivating samadhi, collectedness, which is born of letting go, relaxing unwholesome states, and cultivating, bringing up wholesome states. And by nature, the mind becomes collected and discernment, wisdom arises. And in that way, this is our meditation. So that's why I put so much emphasis on this, because we're not using an object. The loving kindness is an emotional, really beautiful, expanding, calming, wholesome emotional state that we can experience, which actually brings all of these qualities in your mind and in your heart. Slowly, it will purify. But it's not really an object. It's just a state. It's a mental state of the heart and the mind. And we get better at it and better at it and better at it. And at some point, after devotion and dedicated practice, we will start to experience the calming, the collectedness of the mind. I like to call it the pooling of awareness, because it's like this word in Pali is called Āsavākkhāya. Bhante used to translate it as distractions, actually, and I really love that translation. I take it from him, in fact, because Āsava means to, like, it's from the root shru, means to flow. I like to see it as the mind is flowing out into these distractions because it's kind of latching onto things outside. But when we let go, we relax, and we cultivate this beautiful loving kindness in our heart. Awareness is kind of attracted to that, because loving kindness is beautiful, it's pleasant, it's happy, it's joyful, and it feels good. And more we feel happiness and goodness and joy inside, then the less the mind is distracted, the less it actually cares about all of these distractions. So slowly the awareness, the water of our awareness starts to pool and collect. And that's why I call it natural samadhi, or natural collectedness of mind. Because this, in one of the teachings, the Buddha says this is Dhamma samadhi. In fact, he uses that word, and that's why I translate it as natural collectedness, which comes through wisdom. And to do this, we need to understand exactly what we've been talking about, so that it becomes very clear. And the more clear it is, then the easier it will be for you to understand. This is not like this story that I'm making up about this and that and this and that and what happened with this person, that person. It's just restlessness. So it's not the story, it's just, it's a quality of the mind that actually lays behind that. And when we know that, it's very easy to let it go. Okay, and now we're in the middle here, and so we've seen the unwholesome states, and then we've had the exercise all together, and let's see what the Buddha has to say about wholesome states now, which will kind of like tie in the loop for us. Then while I was meditating, attentive, intent, and resolute, there arose a thought of non-anger. What would be non-anger? Kindness, love, compassion. Very good, because we don't use these words in English. Then I reflected, this is not troublesome. It is not troublesome to others, of course it's not. It is not troublesome to either. These thoughts are for the growth of conscious discernment. See, it's the complete opposite of the other ones. They bring no tension in the mind, and they lead to peace, not away from it. Now this is great. This is beautiful information. But then he realized something a little bit further, which can only be applied to the wholesome states. Then I reflected, if I were to think and reflect constantly, before long my body would become exhausted. With an exhausted body, the mind is unsettled. An unsettled mind is far from mental collectedness. I then calmed my mind and gathered it on itself. I unified it and brought it to collected harmony or mental collectedness. And that's not something that you do, it's just something that happens as you do this process, by the way. It's not like I'm going to collect my mind now. No, it's by doing what he's been saying here, then that happens. Why? So that my mind be undistracted. And this is where I've started to say to a few people, it's really good to use anything that you need to feel the loving kindness at first. And the spiritual friend is no different. You could use a kitten for all that it means. It's not. But the spiritual friend is usually a little bit more tangible, and it works really good with a lot of people. So we just use that. But the thing is that you'll notice as the meditation goes deeper, the mind really rejoices more and more in calm. And if you're to always think of puppies and kittens riding on the rainbow and your spiritual friend and thinking like, oh, may you be happy, 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 may you be happy. If you do that all the time, you'll notice it's kind of annoying, right? So the first step is to bring that up. Yes, to use what we call Vitakka, Vicāra. Those two words mean basically thinking and reflection. So using your mind and your imagination power to bring up these ideas and concepts to feel that feeling. But then at some point the feeling will start to stick. It will start to become stable. And you'll notice that actually it's better when you don't think about too many puppies. And actually they're still there, but you won't be inclined to think about it so much. And the same thing with your spiritual friend. It will be there in the background, but more and more the mind will just want to just rest in that beautiful loving kindness, in that feeling. So this is what the Buddha is saying here. So those wholesome states are great, but then if you try to always think about it, like, oh, I'm really content, I'm really content, oh, I'm so content. Yeah, you can, okay, it's okay. You know, you're content, just float on it. Ride it, surf it. Okay, and whatever one frequently thinks about and reflects upon over and over again, this becomes the inclination of the mind. So it's the same thing for the wholesome states, obviously. Now the analogy of the cowherd. Just as in the last month of the summer season, when all the crops have been harvested in the villages, a cowherd would keep an eye on his cows at the root of a tree in the open, only needing to be aware, there are the cows. In the same way, monks, I only needed to be aware, there are wholesome states. See the shift here. Because of the nature of wholesome states, you can just be here, enjoying sitting at the root of your imaginary tree, and just know that all of these wholesome states in your mind are completely blameless. By nature, they're not troublesome, they're calm, they're peaceful. And I like this kind of analogy of, that the cowherd who's like taking care of all the cows can just rest under the tree and just watch the cows graze. And because it's effortless, when there's only wholesome states, it becomes a very effortless practice. So unrelenting, uncurbed my devotion was, energy or effort. Unconfused presence of mind came to be. My body became calm and free from tension. Doing this over and over again, that's what happens. My mind became collected and harmonious. Now I'm not making this up. This is the Buddha speaking here. And now he's going through what is called the levels of meditation. And those are called the Jhānas in Pali. We will be exploring those in a later discourse on probably day 4. I will read them so just that you can hear them and you can take them as a bit of a guided meditation. And if you're wondering where joy is in the Buddha's teachings, it's in the Jhāna sequence. So it's in those levels of meditations that he explains one after the other. When we abandon unwholesome, hurtful states and we cultivate wholesome, bright states, the nature is just that there will be joy, relief and joy arising. So letting go of all sensory engagement and letting go of unwholesome mental states, still attended by thinking and reflecting, with the blissful happiness born of letting go, I understood and abided in the first level of meditation. With the calming of thinking and reflection, with inner tranquilization, my mind became unified, without thinking nor reflection, with the blissful happiness born of collectedness. See, at first we have blissful happiness of letting go. Now blissful happiness of the mind starting to pool. I understood and abided in the second level of meditation. With the calming of excited joy, I abided in mental steadiness, present and fully aware, experiencing happiness within my body, a state which the awakened ones describe as steady presence of mind. This is a pleasant abiding. I understood and abided in the third level of meditation. Unattached to pleasant experiences and unsteered by unpleasant ones, As mental excitement and heaviness settled, my mind became balanced, purified by unmoving presence. I understood and abided in the fourth level of meditation. With this composed and collected mind, wholly cleansed and purified, clear and open, rid of imperfections, having become pliant and malleable, straight and unwavering, I directed and inclined my mind to the complete calming of mental movements, the asavas, the distractions. I understood the mental movements as they are. This is tension. This is the increase of tension. This is the release from tension. And this is how to release the tension. Continually observing and understanding in this way, my mind was released, liberated from the inclination to clinging outwardly, from the inclination of projecting in the future, from the inclination to negligence or carelessness. In that release, I knew this is release. I directly knew unwholesome states have been overcome. Lived is the spiritual life. Done is what had to be done. There is no more conceit here. And this is the third understanding which I realized on the last watch of the night. And now he closes with a little story that he gave to the monks. Just as if there was in a remote forest a vast and extensive marsh on low grounds, where would live and forage a great deer colony. Then some man would come, intent on their ruin, intent on their harm, intent on capturing them. He would cover up the safe and free path to be traveled with joy, and he would open a deceptive path, set down a groomed decoy, and bring up a domestic lure. Because of this, after some time, the great deer colony would be brought to ruin and decline. Then some men would appear, intent on their happiness, intent on their welfare, intent on their liberation. He would clear up and reveal the safe and free path to be traveled with joy. And he would cover up the deceptive path, release the decoy, and remove the lure. Because of this, after some time, the great deer colony would be brought to growth, prosperity, and abundance. This story I just told you, monks, is to teach a lesson. The vast and extensive marsh on low grounds, this is a designation for all sensory distractions. The great deer colony, this is a designation for all living beings. The man intent on their ruin, harm, and capture, this is a designation for death and wickedness, Mara. The deceptive path is a designation for the unwise eight-spoked path, unwise understanding, unwise thoughts, unwise speech, unwise behavior, unwise living, unwise practice, unwise presence of mind, unwise meditation. The decoy, this is a designation for the happiness of craving. The lure, this is a designation for lack of conscious discernment. The men intent on their happiness, welfare, and liberation, this is a designation for the truth finder, truly worthy and perfectly all awakened. The safe and free path to be traveled with joy, this is a designation for the eight-spoked path of the awakened ones. This is wise understanding, wise thoughts, wise speech, wise actions, wise living, wise practice, wise presence of mind, and wise meditation. Monks, I have reopened the safe and free path to be traveled with joy. And I have revealed and closed the deceptive path, released the decoy, and removed the lure. Monks and nuns, what should be done by a teacher for his students, holding their best interest at heart, out of loving compassion, that I have done for you. There are these roots of trees, monks. There are these empty huts. There are these cells and rooms at the Karuna Center. Meditate, monks. Do not be neglectful, lest you become remorseful when this 9-day retreat has passed. This is my advice to you. This is what the Awakened One said. With an uplifted mind, the monks and nuns at Karuna Center delighted in the Awakened One's words. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very good. I really like this little ending story of the Buddha, the deer herd, and I really, I don't know, it feels warm in my heart every time I read it. I feel like it's so beautiful that he reopened the free path to be traveled with joy. Isn't that amazing? And we're all the little deers that can fly through the net. In the end, what to take away is that this is what we've been doing here. I've just been explaining this in very simple terms, because also I think what is the most simple is most efficient and works the best. But here is our time together to scratch a little deeper in the evening, to understand a little bit more how the mind works, how to work with it. And now you know the difference between these two kinds of states, and that's the title of this teaching even. And I think it's one of the best teachings of the Buddha to explain that principle. And so I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it is useful to you in your meditation. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share these merits that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty powers, share these merits of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.